Once you pick your publishing path, are you stuck on that path forever? Can you go indie once you've been traditionally published? Can you get a traditional publishing deal if you're an indie author currently? Well, today we have an expert to give us the details on how to be a hybrid author and how to be a successful one at that. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm MK Williams. I'm an author and independent publisher. I love sharing my insights about all things publishing with you. Before I get into the details of today's topic, don't forget to hit subscribe. You'll be notified every week when I put out new videos about publishing, making a career to being an author, and now being a mompreneur. Today, we're chatting with Katlyn Duncan about hybrid authors, what they are, and how to even become one. Katlyn is an award-winning author. In addition to her own titles, she has ghostwritten over 40 novels. As a hybrid author, she's been able to navigate the indie and traditional publishing spaces and share her insights and knowledge on her channel and in her new book, The Successful Hybrid Author. Today, she's going to share her secrets for success as a hybrid author. Welcome to the channel, Katlyn.
Hey MK, thank you so much for having me on your channel. And hey everyone on MK's channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Katlyn Duncan and I am a hybrid author, which means I publish both traditional and independent books. Here on YouTube, I talk about my writing process and all the bookish things. So I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about being a hybrid author.
I'm so happy you're here. Before we get started, can you tell us what is a hybrid author, and are there any notable examples that you can give us of who are successful hybrid authors?
Hybrid author is an author who publishes both in the traditional and independent spaces. So basically, they have all the experience of both publishing paths and are able to navigate the opportunities and challenges of both. Now, some examples of authors who've gone from traditional publishing to independent publishing include New York Times bestselling author Gail Carriger and also Hugh Howey, and myself, as I mentioned earlier. Some examples of authors who went from independently publishing to traditional publishing include E.L. James, who wrote the 50 Shades of Grey series, Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, Scarlett St. Clair, who's a dark fantasy author who's quite popular right now, among so many others.
That's a lot of great examples and a lot that I've actually read, so that's really cool. And clearly it's something that authors are able to do regardless of genre. What are some reasons traditionally published authors or trade authors are going indie?
So out of all the reasons for an author to go from the traditional to independent spaces, I want to talk about the biggest ones, at least that I've seen. So the first one is control over the publication process. Now, when you're a traditionally published author, a lot of the decisions that are made for your books are chosen by your editors and the publicists and the marketing teams at these publishing houses. Whereas if you're an independent author, you have all the control over everything when it comes to the production of your book. And this can be especially appealing for authors who have a clear vision for their book and are able to have the final say when it's presented to readers. The next reason is higher royalties. If you're a traditionally published author, typically your contracts have low royalty rates. Yes, you are given an advance, but those big advances that we used to see are few and far between now. So to make a full-time income, it's very difficult with traditional contracts and the low royalty rates. If you're an independent author, you get the lion's share of your royalties from each sale, and you also retain the rights to publish your book wherever you'd like. As an independent author, you have the potential to earn a higher royalty based on where you publish, how you're pricing your book, and all of those decisions are up to you. And another reason is for authors to bring their books to market as quickly as they can. Traditionally published authors' books tend to come out about a year between each other, and it could be even more than that, whereas an independent author, whenever you have the book ready, you can press publish on it wherever you want.
All those reasons sound pretty familiar. The benefits of indie publishing are ones we've obviously both experienced. But what are some reasons that indie authors are looking to go to the traditional route?
So the reason that a lot of independent authors are going into the traditional space with some of their books is to reach a wider audience through traditional publishing channels, as well as having the support from an editorial team for free in a production team, and offering a little different of exposure than some independent authors can give themselves. For some independent authors, the decision to go traditional can be driven with a desire for credibility, for that a traditional publishing deal and imprint can provide to them. Unfortunately, traditional publishing is still seen as a stamp of quality and legitimacy of a book. And that can sometimes be a little more difficult as an independent author. And traditional publishers tend to have these strong long-term relationships with bookstores and libraries that some independent authors may find difficulty getting into.
That is super helpful to know. So if you're an indie author watching this video because you want to go traditional route, comment below for your reasons. Okay, so we know why authors are going hybrid. What are some unique challenges that hybrid authors are going to face?
So some unique challenges that a hybrid author can face include balancing the demands of publishing both traditional and independent spaces. So you're managing multiple projects and deadlines, and you're also navigating the different expectations and requirements of each publishing model. Now, traditional publishing, as I mentioned, involves working with editors and marketing teams and publicity teams with your imprint. And they all have specific requirements of your time, which can require a significant investment of time where it's taking away the time that you get to work on your independent projects. And then additionally, because of these long lead times with traditional publishing, it can be a little difficult for an author to bring their work to their readers as fast as they can when they publish independently. Another challenge is facing those expectations of both publishing paths. As a traditionally published author, you are sort of giving the rights over to your book, so the publisher really has a lot of the control in terms of how the cover looks, how it's marketed, and also how it's promoted. And that could sort of mess with how you're doing all of those things for your independently published books.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a lot to balance and keep track of. I already feel like it's just a lot being an indie author, so yeah, I can see how that would be a lot. Now, to keep things clear for readers and publishers, should a hybrid author use a different pen name for their traditional titles and for their indie titles, or what's the best practice there?
It depends on what you want for your author career. Now, some people use pen names for anonymity, but you could also use a pen name to appeal to different audiences. So say you're publishing with a traditional publisher adult romance novels, and you're independently publishing YA or children's books or science fiction or something totally different. Having the two separated will definitely help your readers understand where they can find the books that they like. But with pen names comes a lot of challenges, because you can really take it to different heights depending on how much you want to separate your names. So this could involve different websites or different social media accounts, or you can just have something simple like a landing page or just one newsletter that talks about when these specific books are coming out. So you have to determine your reasons for wanting a pen name and also how much you're going to separate the two from your author brand.
All right, that is great to keep in mind. For the indie author trying to go the traditional route, since most people who watch this channel are indie authors, what, if any, benchmarks should they have in place when they're querying in terms of book sales, followers, things of that nature?
So in terms of benchmarks, there's really no specific ones that you should be reaching in order to be able to get a publishing deal. It's all subjective to the type of book that you're querying and who you're querying. Now, I feel like a lot of authors are thinking of like the Amanda Hawking era, where that she had a ton of followers and she was able to bring those readers to the traditional space. But nowadays, with more social media and getting followers in different ways and different marketing channels, you don't necessarily need those big numbers, but I would recommend, if you do have significant sales records or followers, that you put that in your query letter and let the agent know that you already have a built-in reader base for your upcoming books. One important thing, though, outside of your independent sales records and everything like that, is your ability as an independent author to sort of have a behind-the-scenes look into publishing and understanding the different spaces. So that's really important. And you can use those skills to be able to create a book that traditional spaces really are in need of, versus independently, we tend to be able to write the books and find the audience afterwards. So use the skills that you've learned so far in marketing your books to be able to market yourself to traditional publishers.
Wow, I think that's a great tip and takeaway. So definitely the skills we're learning and refining on how to market our books are the same skills we need to market ourselves to publishers if we want to go that route. That is excellent advice. If y'all don't take anything else away from that video, just that one piece of advice right there is amazing. But hopefully you're listening to the rest of it. So can a book that's been published traditionally ever be re-released as an indie title, and vice versa? Can a book that has been indie published ever be picked up by a traditional publisher?
Absolutely. Traditionally published books are released independently all the time. And that is through a process called rights reversion. I talk about all of those things in Take Back Your Book, An Author's Guide to Rights Reversion and Publishing on Your Terms, which is available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook on all book retailers. Rights reversion is a clause in your traditional book contract stating that after a certain amount of time and not meeting a certain monetary amount of sales, you as the author can request to revert the book back to you. Again, absolutely, and this has been done so many times. Traditional publishing is a collaborative environment, so just be aware that some changes may need to be made editorially, whereas some stylistically, depending on the requirements of your publisher.
Thank you so much for your insights, Katlyn. I'm really glad that you were able to join us.
I want to thank you so much, MK, for having me here today. If you want more information about being a hybrid author, my newest nonfiction book, The Successful Hybrid Author, is now available wide on all retailers, along with my website, if you want to support me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your insights, Katlyn. If anyone has more questions for Katlyn, please check out her channel and her new book, The Successful Hybrid Author. If you found this information helpful, please hit like and subscribe, not just to this channel, but also to Katlyn's. That lets YouTube know that you found this information valuable, and then they can get it in front of other authors like us. Now you can get back to writing your book.